are live.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My apologies for not broadcasting last night. You know what happened. But Andrew, my guest, Andrew Wambolt, was kind enough to be available today at 6. So that's what we're doing. So our previously scheduled show from last night is being we're doing it right now. So welcome to Andrew. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Hi, Simone. I have nothing but time.
So how have you been keeping busy throughout
Um,
quarantine?
I've doubled down on exercising. I work out a lot. Like I do a lot of running, and I've doubled down on pizza. Really, like I exercise a lot, and then I eat really bad. I think I eat worse than I ever have in my life. Um, and I like watch a lot of TV. I've started and finished. I have a list. I think there's like 7 series that I've started and finished.
Oh,
Exciting
really?
stuff. Yeah. And I live with like my sister and my dad, so it's a lot of like screaming at each other. So time flies when you're in hell.
You're yeah, I watched the whole Handmaid's Tale, 3 seasons
You see,
so
that
far.
always looked so dark and grim.
It is. It is.
Did
And I avoided watching it until now.
did you like it?
Until now. But it was like I need some distraction. I need something to relax.
That's it. Didn't look relaxing at all. Did you like it?
I loved it. I thought
You
it was
loved it.
fantastic. Like it was dark and it was very grim, but it was riveting. It was riveting. But I could only do like depending on the show, I can watch like an entire season in one sitting or like 6 or 7 episodes. This it was 3 episodes max.
Yeah,
I
it
could do.
seems
Yeah,
really heavy. I got
it
into.
is.
I really like sitcoms. So I watched a lot of. I watched all of Schitt's Creek. Did you ever watch that?
I've never watched that.
Oh my
I need to
god,
watch that.
it's a
That needs to go
gem.
on my list
It's good. It's
because it ended recently too, right? It's
yeah,
finished.
it's finished.
Yeah.
I kind of hate starting shows that are finished though, because it's already dead.
Yeah, because nothing to look forward to. You
Yeah,
get really into it and it's like, okay, it's done.
yeah.
So like when did you get started in comedy and how did you get started?
On July 21st, 2012 was my first set, uh, and I got started. Oh, my first set was like on a competition at Yucks, like I did at the Prescott Yuck Yucks. It's no longer there. I feel so cool and like an old timer because it's not there anymore. I'm like, oh, you kids, you don't know. But it was. I wanted to do comedy like since I was like in the ninth grade. I told my teacher I want to be a comedian, and she was just. it's about all you can
She's
do,
like,
probably. Yeah, it's a hard life, is it? It is. Uh, so I'd always just like I actually Facebooked Ottawa comedy all the time just to see if there was like anything. Um, and I saw that there was like a Facebook group, but I would never join it. It was like really scary. And then I think just because I kept like searching it, like I was just a targeted ad for the Yuck Yucks summer comp on
okay.
Facebook, and I was like, say no more. So
So
I
your
did
first
it
thing was a competition?
at a full house on a Saturday night. They had it on a Saturday, and tickets were like, because I had a couple friends come, and tickets were like $22, and the headliner was like a really good headline. It was just a weird way for my first set.
Yeah.
High stakes, but the cool thing about it is like like I didn't start comedy the right way. Like I theoretically think you should like listen to podcasts or go see a bunch of live shows. But I was just one of those idiots that watched comedy on TV and I was like, I'm in. So I came in there with a full head of steam, so confident. Uh, there you go.
Wow. And how did it go?
It was mostly rough.
Okay.
I brought my notebook on stage and literally like so I didn't take the mic out of the stand and I just held my notebook like this, like with no sense of humor, like a scared guy doing a book report kind of. And I remember I got on stage. It was actually kind of cool because I was reading I was looking at what I had written before I started to speak, and I was like, this isn't funny at all. Like I just kind of knew in the moment, like, oh, I've made a huge mistake. This isn't funny at all.
What have
So
I
I just
done?
yeah, so I just told like a few real stories which were kind of funny. And at one point, like I threw my book on the ground. So it felt cool enough. Like I didn't advance in the competition. By all accounts, it was a terrible time for everybody to watch. But I think there were like 160 people, and I think 20 people left overall. So it was enough.
Left the room? Just
No, do you say left the room?
left the room?
No, no, 20 people laughed. Sorry, 20
Oh,
people laughed.
laughed. Okay, I thought you said left. I was like,
No, it
God.
wasn't that bad.
Harsh. That's like,
It was
that's
just
like cold, man.
just
Get up and
classic.
leave. Jesus.
No, but it was bad. Like my material was just basic, like stories of drug use and like ejaculate, just everything you'd imagine a new comic that doesn't know what he's doing. And I was bloated. I had a foot long sub, and because we went to the wrong yucks, I went to the Elgin yucks, and I was like, I'm on the show, and they were like, no, you're not. You're at the other one. So I had to run from Elgin to Preston after chugging a sandwich and a beer. I remember
so there were two yucks in the city at one point.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Rumor has it, don't quote me on this, but I think the Prescott Yucks was basically started out of spite, is what I've heard, over the Absolute being there.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
How long was it there for?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Like my first year in comedy, I only did 4 sets, and
Okay.
like I was very like I wasn't super active for the first couple of years because I was in college and shit. But it was gone by the time I got into it. It was gone, which
it was gone.
Wasn't great. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a start. That's quite a start. Like no pressure, right?
No pressure, but I also just had the blind confidence of I might win this whole thing.
Do you remember what your jokes were? Like, do you remember like what your first joke was or anything like that?
What was I? Not literally. No, the first joke I said was something. You might want to write this down. This is good.
This is good shit. Okay.
This is good
Where's
shit.
my pen?
But it was more or less comparing comedy to sex. What?
What? That's never been done.
No, and it hasn't since. So it was something like that. The joke I remember it, I think about this all the time, how proud I was of this one joke, because I kind of thought this is like a stand-up-y kind of bit that I wrote, like where it's like this could have been done. But if you know the Lonely Island?
Yeah.
Okay. So they had that song, Jizz in My Pants. Okay.
Yes.
And even at the time when I did my set, I think that song was about 6 years old. But I just had a hot take on, clearly they've never jizzed in your pants, because if you have done it, it's nothing to like sing about. And I thought that was a really good joke.
That's funny.
But then, yeah, the rest were just kind of stories, like just kind of gross out stories more than anything.
Okay.
Really bad.
Really bad. So, is there anything off limits in your act? Like, are there things that you're like, I'm absolutely never going to talk about these things, or is it anything goes?
I think now, in recent years, like, I think as the term like a PC liberal snowflake, like that whole name calling kind of thing that came to be, I just started to be like, I am kind of a snowflake. So I think as that happened, I started, or at least maybe not in real life. In real life, I could be like a real dick in that sense. But I think on stage, my favorite was always like Mitch Hedberg, and I just like that he was all comedy. He had no real point to his set. Like you could watch his set for 40 minutes. You don't really know what any of his thoughts on anything are. It was just pure silliness that I liked. But initially, I had a couple, I guess, like a couple jokes I wouldn't do now for sure. But it was just symptoms of being a bad comic and a bad guy. Is anything off topics for you?
Not really. Like how we were talking before the show, like there are things that I want to write bits about, but I can't yet.
Right.
Because either it's still too fresh or it's still too painful. And I'm not sure how to do that in like a proper way. So like one thing I thought I would never do is like stuff on race, but I find a lot of the stuff I've written in the last 2 weeks is just based on my experience with some of my experiences with not necessarily racism, but being Black in a white
Yeah.
world sort of thing, just my own experiences. So
That's actually what I've been writing about lately is being Black in a white world.
Because you have so much perspective.
Yeah. I just also think of like it's almost like hacky for just somebody that looks so much like me to talk about like edgy things. I just hate the whole idea. And for it to be funny, it has to be like Anthony Jeselnik. Like it has to be like Netflix special funny. Otherwise, it just seems like you're like a try-hard dick.
And what I'm struggling with at the same time is I don't want it to come across like I'm attacking anyone. I just like, this is my experience, and this is what it is. So I don't want it to be targeting anyone.
But don't you think it might be funny because you seem so nice on stage that if you started to attack people, like really, like
I just come on, I'm like,
yeah, I'm gonna get you.
Exactly. Watch out. But yeah, no, I gotta work on that stuff. So,
yeah.
But one thing we have, well, one of several things we have in common is that we both have been doing interview shows.
Yeah.
What prompted you to start yours? And as I know we've been I don't think we've interviewed the same people.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think we've interviewed any of the same people, but like, what prompted you to start the show, and like the motivation, and like the guests that you had?
I think like every egotistical asshole, I've always wanted to like start a podcast, but I have I have so few like I like stand-up comedy and basketball. I'm not like an expert on either of them at all. So I've just had a hard time being like, well, what would a podcast even be like? But then like I saw Caesar and George doing a lot of stuff on Facebook Live. Like as soon as there was a pandemic, they were just a notification every hour. Like Caesar is live, and it's just him mumbling. And I was like, God damn it. I just thought like, I was frustrated to see it, but then I was more frustrated to see like, 13 other people are actually just watching Caesar right now. Like people were watching. I thought that was cool. And I want to get better as a comedian. Like I still had the fire. So I wanted to get better. And what I'm finding is it's kind of, because there's like Canadian comedy is only so big. Like it's like the top comedians in the country are so deprived of the, say, stardom or respect that they should have, right? That saying like, hey, do you want to come talk about comedy on my podcast? It's like, I think there's a bit of wiggle, like it's like some sort of validation kind of. We'll edit that part out. I didn't like how I sounded there. And that's it. It's just fun to hear people, like to take advice, or what people think is advice.
Well, that's cool. Because when did you, like, how many episodes have you done so far, do you think?
I think there's been, Wafik, Don, Michael, Jeremy, Miller, Rochelle, Matt. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud. It'd be so mean if I forgot somebody. Because
you're like, what about me?
Yeah.
I was there too.
But I think that's it. I think I've done seven live ones, and I think they're really fun. I forgot David Brennan. Yes. I forgot the nicest guy. And no, I forgot Chris Locke. Okay, a lot of men I found. Did you listen to any of them?
Yes, I have. I listened to the Pop David quiz. Brennan one.
Yeah.
Which one? Matt?
Yeah.
Miller?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Miller and David had like some real good shit to say. I was just interested in hearing. I've never heard Miller so zen. I feel like every time we hang out, one of us is hammered. And I think we both kind of run real hot and anxiety like around a show. But then to see her so like cool, like she was like a cool cucumber. Who's been your
Because
favorite
I heard
guest?
her on another podcast a few weeks ago, and yeah, she was really cool.
Who else?
Yeah,
Whose podcast?
it was Jenna and Jesse's Messy podcast.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know them.
he's I don't know his last name, but he's a comedian. They used to work in radio, and they're based out of
Oh,
Ottawa.
Jesse Reynolds.
Yeah, Reynolds.
Okay.
That's it. Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes,
Okay. I didn't
yes.
know.
And Jenna, I think her last name's Mo or
Okay.
something. I think
And
that's
she's
her last name.
like the radio DJ.
Yeah, yeah. So they have a podcast, and then they have a few weeks ago they started a segment on Fridays where they talk to comedians, and they talked
Whoa.
to Miller maybe 3 weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, and they've spoken to like Dan Allaire. Um, who did they speak to? Kathy Cow this week or something. Yeah,
Cassie?
but yeah, I think Cassie. She's based out of Toronto.
I think I know her. I think I saw her at
Yeah.
the. If it's who I'm thinking of, she did the Just for Laughs New Faces this past summer.
Mm-hmm.
Killed it.
Yeah. So that's I heard Miller on that as well. So that was cool.
What's the best advice you've gotten from one of your interviews?
I would say it's about like taking it seriously, like just being prepared, like structure wise, being prepared, organization, not taking yourself too seriously.
Like being a comedian.
Yeah, like being exactly. And just to learn, just like be open to learning from different sources, which is why I started doing this, because I wanted to learn from other people. I want to talk. I miss people, so I wanted to connect with people. And then I also wanted to like pick their brains on about how they approach comedy and just their work, their rituals and things like that. So just pure curiosity and
it's fun.
the desire to learn. Yeah.
I also really like seeing like people's houses, kind of like the little that I can get, like seeing your plants. I think is cool. I forget what David Brennan had. Oh, are they?
Yes, because I'm a plant killer. Plants do not live here. Yeah, plants can't survive, but they look very. I got them at IKEA. They look very real, and
you just want to flex that you like. What kind of lie are you living? Get rid of the plants. Oh man.
Yeah, and I'm in my spare room. Okay. So
a spare room. Yeah. What do you do for work?
I'm a web developer.
Oh, that sounds like you'd have a spare room. That sounds good. I've been thinking about a career change. It's funny to say career change when I've never had a career. I think instead of being unemployed, I want to become a user experience designer. It sounds. Do you know about UX design?
A little bit, yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, it's important. And I think that like a UX designer has to be able to code as well, because you can design something really beautiful looking, but if it doesn't work with the code, with the actual program, it's useless. Yeah. So you have to be able. You need the knowledge of web development, of programming, to be able to put a design to program a design, and you have to be able to wear that lens of, like what I used to do when I did freelance for about a year, and so when I was like creating new websites, to ensure that the user experience was like complete and like a comfortable experience, I would give the link to my mother and let my 80-year-old mother click through it.
Whoa, that's a good test.
And if she could get through it, because my mom wasn't very, like she was able to do like email and stuff like that. But if she had issues finding certain things, then I was like, okay, I need to, simplify that a little bit more. Or she's like, I had to click 15 times to find, the contact page or something.
Mhm.
So that was my litmus test. I'd give it to my mother, send the link to my mother and say, try and find this, try and create this, do I give her all these instructions, and then I get feedback from her.
So you're able to code.
Yeah, I can
That's
code.
cool. How long did it take you to learn?
Um, well, the
I
thing
didn't mean
is,
to hijack you this.
that's okay. That's okay. You
Just
can do
looking for
like a
career
half thing.
advice. Yeah.
I've always been like very technical. So, very technical, like good with numbers and things like that. So it's
Mm.
always been something I've been able to do, but I formally learned how to code 5 years ago and just ran with it. Just took to it like a duck to water. Did a lot of studying on like on my own dime, on my own time, and like transitioned out of my HR job into a web development job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I want to do that exact thing. Or even if I had an HR job, I'd be happy. I don't want to go back to
Yeah, I
Starbucks.
would urge you towards the web development things. Like there are lots. I don't know about in Ottawa, but I know in Toronto. I'm sure Ottawa has them too. But I know in Toronto they have like boot camps, coding boot camps that
Nice.
teach you everything or just about everything in like 8 weeks or
Do you think
so. It's
like
very, very intense.
do
It's
you think
like
like
full
an idiot
time.
could go in, like somebody that doesn't know coding at all, or is it somebody that
Um,
is self-taught and they
if you're self-taught, it'll do you some good. You have to have like you should have some kind of
right?
knowledge, but before you should take like a intro to HTML, CSS. Like you should have a very basic knowledge of that. And I know there is Canada Learning Code in Ottawa, and they do those workshops all the time. So you can take a few of those workshops just to get a foundation, and then look into like a coding boot camp or a coding program.
I think that'd be
Like I
awesome.
didn't do I didn't do a boot camp because I was working full time and I couldn't do it, so I did it part time. So yeah, but it's pretty intense, and but it preps you for like an entry level web job.
Do you know how much those make? That's not like asking.
It depends. It depends on the company. Um, if you were to go to a startup, um, it might start around 50,
Oh
but of
my
course, like
god.
the more special, the more specialized and like the more experience you have and the more specialization you have, it'll go up. Like I know some people who make like 90, 80, 90 a year
Can't imagine.
doing it. But yeah, it depends on the type of work that they do. If they're like a company that I didn't ultimately didn't end up working there, but their um, their starting salaries for web engineers was 70,000.
Mm,
Yeah,
can you
but that's
imagine?
with like a couple of years,
Yeah.
like a few years experience, and at like an intermediate level, so like a junior level, depending on the expertise. Like if it's like JavaScript and you know um, React and all of those JavaScript based applications things. Those are very high demand, so those pays tend to be higher. Like networking stuff is very big too, and high paying, like in an IT department in a company sort
Yeah.
of thing. Those are pretty hot in high demand, as well as decent paying.
Hell yeah. I'm into it. The
Yeah.
most job I just had like before the pandemic I got fired from my dream job, and it was paying like just under $33,000 annually. And I was like, God, like I've never even interviewed for a job that pays like that was the most I've ever come close to making. So the idea of making 50 grand,
Yeah.
oh my God, you're rich. You're the richest comedian. No, you know what I'm finding out is that there's so many comedians in this city. I thought we were all just poor, but they're not. There's some people here that are making real money. Oh my
It's funny
God.
because we have like other jobs. Like we have, because I don't do comedy full time. I do it
Nobody
part time and I
does.
work full time, you know? Yeah.
You know what? I regret starting comedy so early in my life.
Really? I
I wish
regret starting it so late.
and I'm finding that's exactly what everybody says. The grass is always greener because
Yes.
every actually I find not a lot of people relate to me. Like the young comedians I know that started young, they're fine with it. But I also have noticed some of them like you try really hard when you're like say the ones that started around my age like 19, 20. Like by the time you're 23, you almost feel burnt out on the whole thing. But it's like
Yeah, because you've
you
been
were
doing it for so long.
you've been doing it for so long and like but you're still at an age where this is why I was was so bad for so long is so young like I had nothing to say no point no I didn't even like I hadn't even gone to house parties you know what I mean so it's like you're
Yeah, because
starting
the thing
young
is experience. Like I get a lot of material just from experience, just from
that's
life
the thing
experience, you know? So,
and I
you
find
know,
people that
that's,
start at least over well I always think of Caesar I think Caesar started when he was 25 or 26 and I think like that's the perfect age people that start just like once I think your brain is like fully developed
yeah.
even I think it really benefits every part of
Oh, yeah.
everything
Because
I don't
there's a
know
huge difference between your life experience at 25 versus 19.
yeah
25 is still very young, but there's like your brain has fully developed by 25
mm-hmm.
and you have some life experience.
and you
You have
just know
some.
more of who you are as a person
Exactly. 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 So
maybe the next life
yeah. Maybe my next life, exactly. I always say better late than never,
yeah
better late than never. You just do it whenever you do it.
and I think it's beneficial another thing like to start later like the just in regards to networking when I started I think most people like it was a lot smaller. There were way less comedians, and most of them were I think like 28, and when like yeah, and I was 19. And just even when you're 19, like the age difference is all I could
It
think
seems
about. Like
huge.
it
Yeah,
was so
exactly.
scary and like trying to talk to a comedian that already has a full fledged drinking problem when I've never really drank at the time. I'm like, how am I supposed to? I don't even
How can I
drink yet.
relate? That's
That's why I've been
funny.
working on my drinking problem. So I'm fully there now.
Me too. Quick quarantine really put me on like the fast track
It
to,
did.
to alcoholism.
I've actually been wondering myself because I think I average 2 beer a day, which definitely isn't great, but I think it might equate to like less than what I do because when I go out to a show, I really go off. It's I drink until I am sick. So I think I might be drinking less in quarantine, which just isn't great for my body.
Is So I'm drinking more in quarantine.
What do you
Yeah,
drink?
because the thing is, like going to shows and everything, I'd have like maximum 2 drinks because I was driving
Mm.
all the time. But like right now, like this is a mason jar with vodka soda, and I
Oh,
usually with ice, I usually fill the vodka to here. That's a fuck ton of vodka.
that's a lot of
I
vodka.
fill it up, and I don't taste the vodka anymore. So,
Oh,
and I usually have about two of those.
does that
But
get
like a
you?
couple weekends ago, I think I had four, and I was like hammered. I was like,
Does two of them not get you like tipsy?
oh yeah, yeah, it does,
Okay.
it does, it does. But I'm just like kind of buzzed. Like I'm not like I wouldn't drive or anything.
Right.
Like I make sure I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to drive or, work or anything
Yeah.
before I do it. But yeah, I usually have
Yeah.
two, and that's usually it. But not Saturday that passed, the Saturday before. I think I had three or four, and I was like hammered and like
Yeah.
alone in
You'll
my
black out.
apartment hammered. It was like, oh, I don't feel good. Everything's spinning.
That kind of sounds fun though. Like I guess it's another thing. The grass is
It
always
was fun
greener.
for like a minute till the spins happened.
But what do you think about in general? Like you live alone,
Yeah.
like being quarantined by yourself. Like it seems ideal, but what would you say?
Well, I mean, like I miss people. Like I haven't
Right.
been in like okay, I've seen people like when I've gone to the grocery store, things like that, but like friends, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen friends. Um
You don't like what? What
months.
area do you live? Like, do you live? Because I know, like, David lives in the middle of Somerset, where a whole bunch of like the comedian friends of his, like, he lives there. So he's just been seeing people just walking by and go to his patio, and I'm so jealous.
Okay.
But I live in the
Yeah,
middle of Nepean. There's nobody here.
yeah, like I'm Hunt Club and Bank.
Oh yeah, there's nobody
Yeah, so
there.
there's no one's out here either,
No.
So yeah, so it was like right now, like four, like 3 going on 4 months in, I'm okay. But I'd say the first 2 weeks it was all right because I'm more of a solitary person anyway. But as it went on, I realized that I'm not as in what's the word,
Introverted?
introverted as I thought. That I do like being around people, like in small doses though. But I know it really hit me hard. I want to say maybe a month, 4 to 6 weeks in, I was like depressed and I was sad and I was upset and it was just frustrating.
And
Like it's still frustrating because I like there's so many people I want to see
mhm.
and everything, but right now like the paranoia has kicked in because it's like I don't want to go out there.
Yeah, and
Get
you
the
like you
COVID.
feel antsy, like you feel like it's so close, but you just gotta. I had the
Mm-hmm.
exact opposite kind of experience, like, because I feel like I'm a butterfly, baby. I'm very extroverted, but then yeah. So the first 2 weeks, I was scared, and every evening, uh, like I'd get high and then get so afraid of what the virus was, and I found myself googling almost nightly, like, will things be okay?
Yeah. Oh
Which,
yeah. No, I
especially
hear
then,
you.
like the results were varied. Like they weren't necessarily going to be okay.
Because the
But
thing,
I've
nobody knows. That's the thing. Like no,
yeah,
nobody knows anything. It's
and,
like we've never had this before.
and you just go down like a weird Reddit rabbit hole of people saying, "No, we're done."
Yeah,
No, but I
exactly.
honestly don't miss people anymore. I did for a bit, and I'm realizing, why do I need to be in, like, hang out with somebody in person, like the actual hanging out? I went on a bike ride with somebody, and I was like, we could have just FaceTimed. This, it's I fully embrace it. I do miss actually the Saturday, like when I got my sunburn, I played full contact basketball with three of my friends.
Full contact basketball.
Full contact, and let me tell you, it was the most homoerotic thing I've ever done, and I loved it. I was so unnecessarily aggressive. I was like, oh, it does feel good. All this is to say is, my girlfriend lives in Toronto, and I'm backed up. You know what I'm talking about. We're gonna edit that part out where I just confess to being horny. Okay.
Yeah, we all are. I think.
Yes.
I think everyone is. Everyone is. It's like
Have you
the
been
big elephant in the room. We all are. We
have you
all
been
need some loving.
have you been trying to, like, online date still or ever?
I
Do you online
was.
date? Okay.
I don't like it. I hate online dating.
Yeah.
I did at the beginning because I was like, I want to like maybe potentially meet someone for after, but then
Mhm.
I was like, after could be like 2024.
Yeah.
So I just like shut everything down,
Okay.
and it was like I was getting asked to like break quarantine and stuff like this, and I didn't. I was like, yeah, this isn't cool.
Were,
I don't like
you think
this.
that
So
you would have if somebody was like cute enough? Like if the right person asked, would you have been like, yeah? Because I
um
wonder.
not on a dating site. If the right person in my
I
in my
see.
real in my real world
Yeah.
had said, "Hey, oh yeah, I'd be in my car and
Yeah.
you see like a strip of fire down
Yeah. That's
a
a good point.
me-sized hole in the wall sort of thing." Yeah, but like on the apps, just the fact that I'm not comfortable on the apps to begin
Mhm.
with, and then just some random person, yeah, I was like, I'm not willing to break quarantine for a stranger,
Right.
and because for a little while I was like FaceTiming with this guy that I met. He was very nice and everything, but I felt like I was just sort of like meh. And I think I was like, because who knows when I'm gonna meet him?
Yeah. You don't want to get your
Who
hopes up
knows?
for him.
Exactly. And it's like I don't want to be talking to him like that or texting him for a year and a half before we could meet in person. So I just
Yeah.
sort of let that fade, sort of thing. I just sort of let that go because I was like, meh, you know. But yeah.
You
So
know,
it's just that whole like I know people who are isolating with like their partners or with other people,
Mhm.
are like, oh, I wish, I was alone. And then I know there are people like me who are alone going like, I kind of wish I had someone here, you know, someone I
Like,
could sleep with. That's what I mean, actually. Not just like somebody like here,
you
someone I
wish you had
could
a roommate you hated?
exactly. No, exactly. I'd rather be
Yeah.
alone than have a roommate I hate.
I think it'd be
So yeah,
ideal. Like if you're in a building, then if like you just had a neighbor in your building that was,
yeah, hot neighbor down the hall. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be
A
ideal
hot
right
neighbor
now.
on like the 17th floor. That would be
Yeah.
ideal.
Just a bit
That
of
would be
space.
ideal. Exactly. It's like you can go now. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, but because I know I read it I think it was on CNN, and then on a podcast that I listened to they referenced it a few weeks ago, that I think it was Sweden recognized that people need like physical touch.
Mm,
People need to be around other people, so um, loosened they loosened the restrictions to allow for like a conjugal partner that you could like isolate with some,
right.
yeah. But
But
then again, it's like who are you going to isolate with?
yeah, and that's like
What
such
if
a
like
big question. Like, who do I want to? Who's the one person I'll have sex with potentially for like 2 years? I guess that's just a relationship now that I've said it out.
exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
that's not that bad then. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that they recognize that we're not solitary being, even though like some of us like to be are fine on our own for specific periods of time, that in general we're not solitary beings. Like we need connection and people and touch and all of that stuff. So I thought it was cool that they recognized it, but then I was like, what if like you're like, yeah, that's the person, and like one time you're like, and
Yeah,
you're stuck with them
you're just stuck with them. That's the
for
thing.
at least 2 weeks, like that would suck. That would suck so bad.
That would really suck.
That would really suck. Oh my god. So I'm like, I think I'm feeling better about the whole thing right now. I still like, I miss my friends. I miss, you know, just being able to go and do whatever I want. And it's weird, wearing a mask when you're outside. It's weird.
Yeah.
Um, because the other day I was in line standing outside. I had my sunglasses on and a mask, and I'm like, nobody can even tell if I'm smiling at them. Like I'm so like incognito. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, and
Yeah,
who would have
man.
thought like 5 months ago or a year ago that, because put it this way, a year ago, if I walked into any store with sunglasses and a mask, security would be like on my tail. So
Yeah.
anybody, they'd be like on your tail going like, what is this? Like, what?
Yeah,
You
you look
know?
scary as hell.
Yeah, but you can walk around the store, no problem, sunglasses and a mask, and no one's gonna say boo to
Yeah,
you.
you're more scary without the mask now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I was at the LCBO yesterday before the whole fiasco with my car. And in line, I know when I got to the front of the line, I said to the woman, I'm like, I'm smiling at you.
That's the creepiest thing you could have
She's,
said.
as it came out of my mouth, I was like, ugh. Because she was like, hi, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine. How are you? I'm actually smiling. And she's like, I just assume everyone's smiling at me because I had the sunglasses and the mask on. You couldn't
Yeah.
see, and all she could see was my forehead. That was
You just got to control like the wrinkles you get when you smile.
exactly. I was like trying to keep it neutral.
Yeah.
But oh my god, yeah. So it's just like so like such. It's just such strange times, and it's for a while there. It was like, what next? Because remember there were the murder hornets
Yeah.
were like on their way to kill us too, and it's like, Jesus. Now they're race wars and all kinds
It,
of crazy shit.
it's cool. I think it's so funny how the murder hornets just never like they never really nobody really cared that much. It's
Yeah,
like there's too much right now. We just go away, come back later, scare us then. We just can't give
because
you the
they could have
attention.
come and they're like, no one's paying attention to us,
Yeah,
and they
we're
left.
inside anyway. Like
Exactly. They might come back in like September, or so, and then like we're waiting for like aliens and all kinds of craziness. Like who knows what's gonna come.
I hope it's
But
aliens.
yeah, so it's yeah, it's been wild. It's been really, really wild, and I don't want to get used to doing everything virtually. Like I don't want things to rush back to whatever normal is going to be.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't know how much longer I can do
I'm
this
getting used
virtual
to it
stuff.
all. As long as I can sweat and have a lot of physical contact with three boyfriends of mine once every 2 weeks, then I'm happy.
I don't even have that. Like if I had that, then I'd be fine. I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
This could keep going.
I'm actually doing one better. I have like a comedian in Ottawa. He's during quarantine, he went back to the GTA where his family is, and and my girlfriend actually lives in the GTA. We date long distance, but she's coming. She's coming this Tuesday, and my friend is giving us like his apartment, so we don't have to mix with my family and everything. So I'm about to live your dream. I think it's good. I'm about to go off.
Go on, exactly.
I'm very excited.
Oh my God. Because it's like thinking about the last time I hugged anyone was my sister when we came back from our trip, our vacation in on the March 12th.
It's been a long
We
time.
came back. Yeah. That
Oh,
was
I
a
have a
long time.
fun story about hugs. Because I live with my sister, and she really gets pissed if like you touch her in any sort of way, like a tap on the head or anything. But I woke up and I was just like really sad, and I was just like, "Hey, I kind of want a hug," and she was just like, "Oh, Dad should be home soon."
She deferred to your dad.
I was like, "This." It was so embarrassing for me to say I want a hug to my sister, and
And
you
she's
just
like,
threw me
nah.
under. Just fuck yourself. Oh my,
Exactly. She's like, nah,
no,
dad'll be
no.
home soon.
Yeah, that
No.
was, which it's a lot cooler to ask your dad for a hug. A 27-year-old man that never moved out. So there's a big L on my face for sure.
Oh my God. Oh my God. But yeah, no, it's just strange times and people are reacting and dealing with it differently. And I'm seeing some of my friends seem okay and some don't. Some are just like off the rails. Like I could see their Facebook posts and I'm like, what's happening? Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
some people
Like some people are just not really coping well.
I think some
And
comedians that I've like that we're friends with, or like me, at least Facebook friends with, like are just going crazy. Like I've seen two people just fully say I'm not a comedian anymore and drop out. Like just delete all the
really,
comedians. Yeah, one of them was funny.
wow.
Just gone. But I'm kind of hoping that the pandemic weeds a lot of uh, people that didn't like. I guess like what you were saying, the people that didn't really take it seriously or and that didn't plan to. I hope they leave.
Yeah. I think that's gonna happen too. I think that will, yeah, I think that'll like filter out
But I
a
think a
lot
lot
of
of people
people.
will come back way funnier. Like I think this is like it's going to go either way. People are going to realize I'm going to move on, or they're going to be like I need to take it more
Hmm.
seriously. So it should be
Yeah.
exciting. Are you
Oh
gonna?
yeah, for sure. Like the first few like in-person in like in real life shows
Yeah,
are gonna be, yeah, because the thing is, even though we all like, hopefully we all survive it, but
yeah.
just
Knock on wood.
we've all come through this global pandemic, but we're all gonna have different experiences. We're all gonna have different experiences. We would have learned different things or handled it differently, and I'm just really curious to hear all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to apply for the Yuck Yucks competition?
Yes.
Yeah. You haven't
Yes.
done a competition before, eh? In comedy.
No, no. I started after because I started September, so the last one had already done. But
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna apply.
That's exciting.
I'm gonna apply. Yeah, yeah, because it looks like fun, and it just seems like I like those things where where there's like pressure on you and like test your chops and you know what I mean, like high
Yeah.
stakes sort of
That's the thing
thing.
is a lot of comedians say like are going to comedy because like they're not good at sports. Like they don't have the competitive drive and they just they're real wimps. You know that? I'm allowed to say it. Look at me. But I just think, yeah, it is fun. It's like, it's a fun little tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've heard good things about it.
There's
Like
also
everyone
horseshit
who's
things. Like there's also been a lot of because it is one of those things where you could stack the room with 30 friends, and I did it. I advanced last year for the first time in like 7 years,
oh
or yeah,
really?
the only time, and it was after my 7 years, and I had like 13 people, like 13 of my friends came to that show. So the entire time afterwards, I was like, I don't know if it was me or my friends, but honestly, it felt so cool. It felt so
Because
cool.
how are you like they're like a panel of judges, or is it by
Yeah,
applause or
there's a bunch of judges. That itself is a hotly contested issue. Is like the background of these judges, like what makes them really comedy judges? But that's a whole different.
yeah?
But then it's normally I think one or maybe two. I think two go by on judge vote, and then one based on the audience.
Okay, like
I
audience
think.
reaction.
Yeah, yeah. Or the audience, they're actually able to vote. Like you get little
Oh,
slips. You
okay.
get your picture on a piece of paper. Get some headshots, girl.
I was going to get some headshots. A friend of mine was going to take them, then COVID happened.
Oh,
So I don't have them. I don't have any. So
there's no time
hopefully,
anymore.
we'll get that done when we're allowed out again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you
Yeah.
have to do like new sets like as you move through
No,
the competition?
it's not like no, not at all. It's they don't care what you do on stage more than any other time or anything.
Okay.
Like different judges, typically different audience, obviously.
Mhm. Right.
So you can do the same. I think most people do well by doing the same thing. You know, it's like just typical. Like you present your best set the entire
Yes.
time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Because something that you're used to doing and you're comfortable and yeah.
do you know Adam Catcher, the audio comedian?
No.
Okay, well I think like he's only been around. Like I know the competition that just passed was his first competition, but he went and he made it to the finals, and then he told me in the finals he did basically an all new set because he just kind of for some reason thought like I'm there, new stuff. Uh,
Oh,
he didn't win.
wow.
Yeah, it was. And
That's a strange
it's
decision. Yeah.
strange, and I just feel bad. The thing that sucks in a competition like that is for him to make it to the finals. That itself is a huge thing. But
Yeah.
then you get
That's
to the
incredible.
finals, you make a bad decision, kind of, and now you just feel like a loser for no reason when you made
Yeah.
it
When
like
you've
top
gone
nine out
really
of all the
far.
comics. Yeah,
Wow.
let's make it to the finals this year, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Deal.
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 I'll do it if you do it.
I'll do it if you do it too. We'll go
Yeah,
head to head.
hell yeah. Good. That'd be fun. No, I take it back. I don't want to go to the finals. I'm saying it now. It's my choice to not go.
Yeah, I like I've never done any kind of comedy competition, so it'll be an experience for me.
It'll definitely be a weird one considering it'll probably be like at half capacity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Well, the good thing is you've done Swizzles a few times and it just won't be your first time performing to a half filled room, which
got
could be
that
shocking.
down.
Yeah.
Got that down.
Yeah. Like it's going to be easier, I think, for me. I'm like, this is more like it.
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Yeah. Look at all this space.
I like this space. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I think the sign up for that is early July, like a 2 week block in July or
That's right.
something that I saw yesterday.
Don't tell anybody else.
Yeah, okay,
I
super.
really believe in winning by in like underhanded
By being the
ways.
only one there.
Yeah. Just tell people the wrong dates to sign up. Tell them actually, Simone, I forgot to tell you should be doing new material every night. So if you advance, make sure all new material.
all new stuff. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. For sure. I think that'd be good. The more you swear, the better too. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what
Attack
I've
the
heard.
audience. Do crowd work. Do only crowd
I
work.
can't do crowd work. I cannot do crowd work. I suck at crowd work.
You know, the only way people get into doing crowd work is like or the only way you get better is just by doing it. I don't think anybody ever thinks they're ready, and when they do, they're normally nincompoops. Like they're just kind of full of themselves. But you just gotta do it and eat shit a few times. Just kind of like doing comedy in general.
Because I know like Tavis is really good at crowd work, and
Yeah,
Jeff Nixon. I don't know if you know him. He's really good at crowd work
yeah.
too. You know that
What
they
he does
just
isn't
make it look
crowd
so
work. That's
easy.
like just there's got to be a different word for what Jeff does. It's like unloading all of his baggage onto different members of the audience. He's really funny though.
He is. He
He
is.
reminds
He's
me a lot
hilarious.
of, or the set that I'm thinking of in particular, he reminded me of Trevor comedy wise.
Oh,
I just
really?
remember thinking, wow, that seems like a man, like an angry man.
He's gonna love that. Actually,
Yeah, I think so. We
if you like
actually,
that.
the first night I met him, we ended up going out dancing till 3 in the morning, which isn't something I ever do, but we went dancing and it was I ended up getting so lost in the music, which is so fucking out of character.
Lost in
But
the
by the
music.
time the lights went on, it was 3 in the morning and nobody I came, like everybody was gone. Like it was just me dancing with a bunch of strangers. And I was like, oh, how do I but that's what I miss. I don't miss seeing my friends. I just miss physical
Dancing,
basketball,
getting lost in
dance,
the music.
and stand up. Yeah, I can't wait to go. That's the thing. Dance like nightclubs like that. That's gonna be the last thing to open up. And I really want to
Yeah.
shake my groove. My girlfriend and I, we've been practicing, trying to learn a dance to a bunch of Lady Gaga songs, and I really want to go like test them out in the club.
Yeah, those are gonna be the last places to open because
It's gross.
yeah, because usually you're like crammed in, people are sweating and you're dancing and
I
yeah,
had
you're in
somebody
close
else's blood on
proximity.
my white sweater actually from that night. There was blood.
Blood.
It was a nice sweater.
There was blood. Oh my God. It's a good, all in all, a good night then.
Yes.
It's not a good night unless you have a little O negative on your shirt,
Honestly,
you know?
it was. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But yeah, those places are going to be the last. Because I'm thinking about like places like that, sporting events like hockey games and stuff. Like, how are those going to go forward?
Well,
You know,
do you follow sports at all?
I like hockey. I follow
Okay.
hockey.
Well, like the NBA is doing that thing in Orlando, right? Like they're opening
Mm.
up in Orlando for so all the teams can play in like the Disney World, I think it is. Like they're making a little bubble. And I just think hockey could do something like that. But in Ottawa, uh like doesn't nobody go to the games anyway? I'm sure there's a hacky joke in there somewhere. Like it'll just look the same. But
Because
I
I'm not a Senators fan. I've never been a
oh
Senators fan. But
who's your
when I was
team?
Pittsburgh,
Why? Oh,
it's
Sidney
always been
Crosby, your
Pittsburgh.
goal
Well, yeah, I
wage.
like him too.
Yes.
But I've been a Pittsburgh fan since like Mario Lemieux since 1984. But I grew up in Montreal, and I wasn't allowed to come out as a Pittsburgh fan, so I'm like a pseudo Montreal fan too. But I
Was
came
there a
out.
beef with Pittsburgh and Montreal?
No, it's just when you're in Montreal, you can only like the Habs. They
That's
only want you
so
to like the
Quebec
Habs.
of them. That's so
Yeah,
on
you can
brand.
only like the Habs. They only sell Habs stuff. So when I moved to Toronto in 2002, I was like, I'm free. I can be a, like, so I came out as a Pittsburgh fan. So yeah, I've been a fan of theirs for years, but like an open out Pittsburgh
Right.
fan
It
since
takes time.
2002.
It takes time. But Pittsburgh, they've all not always, but they're like good. Hey, do you actually think Sidney Crosby is hot?
I do.
Because I've recently seen him, and like I thought your joke was. I think it is funny, but I think it's like how he's not the hottest hockey
Savage
player.
said the same thing. He's like, I don't get it.
No, he
No,
almost
I think
looks
he's
too
hot.
young. No, no,
I
no.
maybe that's what I like.
Very Chris D'Elia of you. Oh,
I know, I
shit.
know.
Uh,
No, no,
I'm,
I always found him. Yeah, I think he's hot. I do. Seriously. I think he is.
you think he?
I know people are like,
I'm having a hard time.
yeah,
I'm
I've
trying
always
to
found him
think of. I'm trying to think of like a hot hockey player. Um, they
like
just have.
Henrik Lundqvist. He's quite nice looking too.
Um,
Chris Letang.
Darcy
Uh,
Tucker, I thought was pretty handsome.
yeah, he was
He,
cute.
he
Yeah,
was
he's
cute.
not bad. He's bad. What's his name from? He's on Chicago. Can't think of his name right now. He played for Chicago for a number of years, and then he went to Dallas, and then came back to Chicago.
Was it Marion Hossa? Because he
No,
was
not
hot.
Marian
I
Hossa.
liked him.
Not Marian Hossa.
My knowledge of hockey is very specific to, I think I was like 6 or 7, but I had like a real hockey phase. So I think I know the entire Ottawa Senators roster around 2003, 2004.
Okay.
But then nothing. When I got into pro wrestling, the real sport.
Because I know when I was like, I liked Alfredson, and I liked what was his name?
Spezza.
No, not Spezza.
Don't say
He was
Danny
the captain
Heatley.
after Alfredson left or retired.
I thought that was Spezza. Was it
Carlson? Carlson?
Oh my god, I forgot about him. Yeah, Eric Carlson. He was
Eric
cute.
Carlson.
He was handsome too.
Yeah, and I liked those two, and then I was like, okay, well, because I like to support the team that I'm in the city I'm living. So, like, I wasn't a Leafs fan for many years just because I wasn't. But I lived in Toronto for 18 years, so I supported the Leafs. I went to games and stuff like that. But I was like, oh, I really don't like the Senators. I don't know like this, and I was like, oh well, Carlson is there, and then he left. I was like,
yeah,
know?
yeah. I hear we
but
have
I
bad
had
management.
tickets to go in April because they were playing Pittsburgh, but it got canceled. Yeah, so that would have been the only.
Still play?
Yeah, he still plays.
Like you were gonna.
He'll probably retire in the next couple of years because he's 33 or almost 33.
I can't believe, especially compared to basketball, which is my thing, but like how long hockey players play for. And it's so much more physical. They get so much less money. I mean,
yeah,
so much
compared
more
to basketball or hockey or.
Yeah, basketball players play for 12 years and they're just like, bye.
Yeah.
But
well, think of when Gretzky retired, he was 37 or something. He'd been playing like more than 20 years.
And there's Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah, he's still playing. I think he's playing in Europe now. But
yeah, but he's
late 40s.
He could be a grandpa.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, look,
if the kids lived a certain life,
simmer down,
I mean,
simmer down there.
If it's like a long line of 16 and pregnant.
But yeah, like he was a rookie in 1990. I think he's playing in Europe like the last couple of years, but he's like 47, something like that. He
had that he had like an iconic hair. I forget what it was called.
The curly mullet. Yeah.
The curly mullet.
He had a curly mullet, yeah. And it like poked out from under the helmet.
It was a real look.
For sure. So we're gonna wrap stuff up because it's 7:00.
Okay.
And I know that we've hit a lot of things, and I think we touched on this a little bit, but what do you think stand-up's going to look like post-COVID, pre-vaccine?
Pre-vaccine?
Because when we get a vaccine, I think we'll be able to fill places up again. But until that happens, and
wow, I've honestly thought about it so little. No, I have a real I'm just trying to learn UX design, so I'm like one-track minded now. But I think it'll suck. I was just talking to Haddad on the phone, and we were talking about the competition and how he hopes like there's other venues open up before, so we could potentially like get some sets in them before the competition. And I just think there's no way in hell like something like Poor Boy or the Wellington. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think open mic venues are going to be as eager to host comedy.
Really?
Which I hate because that's my niche.
Mm-hmm.
I kill if somebody's steaming milk in the background. So I think it'll be a little. I guess I'm just not very optimistic, so I don't want to say too much. I don't want to.
Okay.
I always get upset when I hear people talk about my sister was always like, this is going to last for 2 years. And it just really bothered me.
Stuff like, I
run so optimistic all the time that I'm just like, sure, it's
going. I don't want to hear that.
about it.
Exactly.
Live in my fucking head.
Oh my God. I know, because it's scary when you think of it
Mhm.
like that, if we can't do stuff like that for 2 years. It's like,
But I also feel
that's
like a
crazy.
shithead because I feel like I've heard other people say it, and I realize it kind of what I like. I'm really big into saying like I was so close to getting my life together. Now there's a pandemic. I was just about to move out, get my own place, but now I can't. I was really just gonna make a change. I was about to quit drinking, but I can't quit drinking
I can't
now.
I can't do it now.
No.
Have you been doing like Zoom comedy shows and stuff? Have you been embracing the Zoom,
So
like
I don't
open
know if you
mics
know
and
this.
stuff?
I don't think you do know this, based on your question. I've ran two comedy shows, two Zoom
No, I
shows.
knew this. So I was asking this
You were setting
for
me
our,
up.
yeah, I was
Okay,
asking this
okay,
for our viewers. I'm like a skilled
okay.
interviewer,
Edit
so
out the
I
part where I
asked the
seemed like a
questions that
dick
people
then.
want to know. No, I know you did, but I just
Okay,
wanted,
okay.
to
No, I do.
frame it.
I think, yeah, no, I think they're really fun, and I was fully against them. Like, I'm just kind of negative most of the time, so I was fully against them until I did it once, and I was like, why haven't we been doing this all our lives? I don't need to bust downtown. Like, if I'm going to go to Pub 101 where nobody's there anyways, and people are loud, um, but I think it is hard to get the right formula, like in terms of how many like audience members do you let into the chat? Do you do none? And the
Hmm.
first Zoom show we did, I thought, fuck, it ran smoother than any real life show I've ever done. It was a real success. And the last show was bad on not by any of the comedians. Like they were all fun, but it was a complete shit show. We raised a lot of money for charity though. Like we raised like $300, so that was
Oh,
cool.
that's great.
Um, but it was so bad. Like I am hesitant to do it again. It was like very publicly humiliating on my part.
What happened? Like how?
It was just like Haddad was supposed to MC, and I just have the premium Zoom account, so that was kind of my only role for the show. And right before, like we went live, I got us going live, and he was about to start, and then his thing died, and he's like, "I can't do it. You have to host it." But I was just in no, I hadn't been thinking
Oh,
comedy really, and
yeah, and you weren't
you could no,
prepping
you
to
could really
to
tell
to
I
host.
wasn't thinking comedy.
Oh no.
And then I did. We let too many people in. Like normally, we just have a comedian invite like one friend or one person they want in. So it's the comedians and then roughly 4 to 6 guests, and that's normally enough for it to sound fun. But I just have a hard time, I think, explaining what I want it to look like to the comedians I asked to do the shows. And it ended up with like closer to 30 people in the chat, and there was like a baby crying for the most part, and I couldn't find where it was.
Oh, to
And
mute.
yeah, talk about, oh my god, I got so pissed because people would just mute themselves and turn off their camera until their friend was on. And I was like, oh, this is a whole new
Oh,
thing. Like this,
oh yeah. No, because you want the cameras on for everyone.
yeah, it just
Yeah.
ruined the whole point. So I think, assuming we do another one, I'm going to really like Dave and I might just invite our own friends, like people we can really, I guess, trust.
Hmm.
That's
And say, hey, keep your cameras on, turn your
yeah,
mics down, and
people
and
that'll
things like
listen.
that.
And I'm just going to relive that night for the rest of the evening.
I'm
Thanks a
sorry. I
lot,
didn't mean to.
Simone.
I didn't mean to trigger you. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. I'm easily triggered. I'm just emotional.
Well, that's good to know because I'm doing one next Friday.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite.
That
After I just said I ran too.
exactly. Yeah,
How are you
I
doing it?
appreciate your invite too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but how are you doing it? How are you audience wise?
Um. Well, the thing is, at first I was like, oh, I want to keep it small, da, 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 da. And then I was like, I'm inviting people to do their thing. Why not promote it, sort of thing. So I created like a public page,
Mm-hmm.
and like I've approached people and said, hey, I'm running this thing on this date. Here's the link. Please come, sort of thing.
Right.
So I really don't know. I know the people that I've approached will come, but beyond that, I'm not sure.
Like, do you have the link open on the Facebook page? Like, are random people pretty much able to go in?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a pub. I have the event as like a public event
Mm-hmm.
with the link there. Because the thing is, what I didn't want to do was like bombard people with invitations,
Right.
sort of thing. So I don't know, like,
Are you gonna keep all of their mics on, like in the chat?
Um, I'd like that just because we want to hear their laughter, but I'm going to advise them like when have you ever done Michael's collaborative comedy?
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
we
did
did it
it like
together.
last like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's right. You
Yeah,
were there. And he says to turn it down to like a fifth of
yeah.
the volume so you can hear laughter, but you're not going to pick up, you know, dogs
Uh,
barking and stuff like that.
that show I definitely didn't hear laughter.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear
No, get it? Because I bombed. That was rough.
it's hard. That shows it's hard. It's
It
fun, but it's
is.
hard. So
Yeah.
it's like I want to like say advise people to turn their mics down. Um if there's a lot of noise to like mute themselves completely, but I don't know. I hope it doesn't get like unwieldy sort of thing that it's like a distraction to the comics and
Aren't you
things like
concerned?
that.
Because
So
this is, I'm already concerned for you because I've heard horror stories of like people going into Zoom comedy shows and just putting like pornography on their screen or something,
really,
like just real shitheads. And I just
how
don't
would
know.
they like to they'd have to be able to share the screen or do it they do it in the chat and stuff like that.
I've never
Don't
actually
give people
followed through.
ideas.
You're right.
You just told all people. People are like, "Oh yeah, porn. Okay, we're gonna post some porn. Yay!"
Yeah.
Thanks,
The twist is
Andrew.
it
It
was just me putting on porn on the screen
was
anyway.
just
Don't
you.
worry. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping it's not going to be too unwieldy. Like I'm performing, but I'm not hosting. Don is going to be hosting. So I'm
Zanklin?
hoping that yeah, Don Zanklin is going to be
Ziggy
hosting.
Zanks? That's what we call
So
her. We call her Ziggy Zanks.
Ziggy Zanks.
Tell everyone you know.
So I'm hoping that like during the show, like I'll be able to like moderate like what's happening and then because I asked her to put me towards the end just so I could like moderate throughout the
Okay,
show.
I
But
have another concern for you because I'm just reliving all of my nightmares hearing you. Okay.
okay.
Will it be like going through, like it'll be your screen, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah, it's
how,
going through
that's the
my
thing is everything you do, like when you try to monitor people or let people in, like it shows up on the screen and it's distracting.
yeah, that's the thing. Like I might make like co-host.
Hmm.
Like I might make Don a co-host or have, ask someone else to be a co-host just to, let people in and stuff like that.
I think it's a good
Um
idea.
yeah, because I know I put a waiting room I put a waiting room uh on the link. So I'll let the comedians in first. Like any comics that show up, I'll let them in first. And then once it's time, then, let audience members in. So I just hope it doesn't get too like crazy
Yeah.
and that you don't post porn.
Hey, it'll be family friendly porn. Don't you worry. What the fuck does that mean?
I was like, okay, whatever that
Uh,
is.
my mouth is faster than my brain, for sure.
Yeah, so that's next week. So I'm excited. I'm a little nervous because I've never done that
Mhm.
before. I've never done one before. So we'll see. It's the first one, and
I'll watch. I'm
it'll be a
excited.
learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll
Who's
be a learning
headlining?
experience. And I don't have a headliner. I just have like a bunch
Right.
of comics, and um, Don. I said Don's gonna make the lineup. I said, do what you would do as a host,
Right.
you know, and I said just put me towards the end, not last, but towards the end.
Why don't you
Um,
headline? Like, why not? Go off.
it feels weird. I mean, I don't know. It feels weird. I don't know.
I
It
get
feels
that,
weird.
but
Yeah.
it's like there's a proven track record of comedians I've seen that run their own shows that they give themselves like say all of the hosting spots or all of the headlining spots where it's
Yeah.
like it's this weird thing where you kind of think, but then over like they just do get so much better. Like it works.
Hmm. I think like maybe eventually, like I'll try hosting or whatever, but
Hmm.
right now I'm not, I've never
True.
hosted before. I've never headlined before.
You're right. You're right.
Um, so I'm like, at
I
least
guess
I don't know how many I'm going to run or how often I'm going to run it, but I'm thinking at least the first few, I'm going to let people who've hosted before host and people who've headlined before headline.
A good call. I'm just
You know what I
pushing you to
mean?
be a dick, it sounds like. Hey, I know you're not ready for it, but do 40.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good call.
Everyone
Good
gets
call.
2 minutes. I get 50. You know, I'm going to take all the time, all of it.
Come on, everyone's
Yeah.
doing it. Do 30. You're right.
Yeah. So I've given everyone like 6 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
6 to 8 minutes. We don't have a headliner per se, but to say if I do it again, they'll get more time. They'll give them more time. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's.
I'll be there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
So, is there anything you'd like to plug before we go?
Theoretically, yeah. No. Oh my God. Yeah. What day is it? It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
Okay. Big news, everybody. My big bad girlfriend Emily is coming to Ottawa on Tuesday. I'll be incommunicado.
Yeah, rub it in, rub it in, rub
we're
it
gonna
in.
we're gonna
Show
watch
off.
movies. We're gonna learn some Mexican recipes. We're gonna go
Gonna
on
do some Tai
hikes.
Chi.
That's it. We're gonna do aerobics. We're gonna do it all. So look out for me and my girlfriend. It's that's kind of funny. I like that. No, I'm interviewing Greg Schroeder, a fellow big forehead, four-eyed comedian, tomorrow evening at 9.
Okay.
And I
Cool.
posted a short film on my Facebook page. It's called Man Best Friend. My dad, it's been reviewed by my father saying, is this like an inside joke or are you saying you're in love with David? And honestly, it's both. So give it a shot. It's definitely not most people's cups of tea, but it's got 8 likes, 0 comments. So give that a whirl. Love.
It's on your personal page, your personal
Yeah,
Facebook page.
yeah, it's on my Facebook page, or look me up on YouTube. But if you look me up on YouTube, ignore the rest of the videos. They're all problematic in a different degree. I need to clean my page. I experimented with filmmaking in college, and I had some hot takes, I tell you. So, but just watch the new one. It's cool. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. It was fun to see you and talk to you and everything.
Well.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I made that joke about your name at Swizzles. Dude, I've thought about it. I think about it shockingly amount. I was just like, I made that joke, and realistically, there's no way. Like, it's just if I thought about it at all, there's no way I was the first person, and I was just like, oh, I got her. I got Simone now, and oh my God, I
Tell
remember.
our friends what the joke was.
I won't.
You won't?
I won't, but I'm so shitty with people with me. Like, I was a barista for a year at Starbucks, and there was a regular Roxanne, and I sang this poor gal's name every time. I was like, "Can I get your name?" She's like, "Roxanne." I go,
Roxanne. She's like, yeah, that's new.
Never heard that one before.
Never heard that.
Oh my God! So I've thought about it, and it's just because I think of that night, and because that was the last set I did.
Yeah,
and it's
me
kind
too.
of fun. I got to feature at Swizzles, and I liked that show. And I had a fun evening afterwards. Like, I hung out with some friends. We partied. And I was just thinking, my only regret was making fun of your name. It didn't even get a laugh. It didn't get a laugh. That I wouldn't have regretted hurting your feelings if it hurt your feelings, if it worked. But it didn't work. And I hurt somebody I didn't know. So I was just like, this is why I could never be an edgy comic. If I was an edgy comic and I was really funny, I think I could deal with the consequences. But I am too sensitive. If my jokes don't work and they hurt somebody.
He didn't hurt me.
Then I'll try harder next time.
Yeah, try harder. You're like, I'll hurt you next time.
I'll keep working on it.
I will injure your soul next time.
Yeah. We'll get there. I promise.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
And stay safe.
Yeah.
And we'll talk soon.
Soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Guys.